The concept is individual or work group system, and next is work group and domain. So why this is, I added this topic before this work group and domain concept. Why I added this one? So without working on the system, we don't know what is work group and what is domain. Just simply work group and domain, I can explain differences. But you should understand. By understanding, so really how it is works. Maybe in future, well, now we are getting to know only things. In future, you want to become a system administrator and you are working in organization. In organization, it is domain environment, not a work group environment. So what is that domain environment? So why can't you log into other system? Why can you log into other systems? Okay, why can't you able to install some application in your laptop? Okay, so how can we install a application into a laptop? So those kind of stuff also we can understand. So now it is, we'll start with an individual or a work group computer. First of all, we'll go with a simple single system. Think like you have a laptop or a desktop, your personal laptop or a desktop, right? So you log into this system. So you are logging into this system. Means you have a user account. Okay, without user account, you can't log in. So there is a user account. Your user account is a local account. Meaning is, meaning is your username and password stored in the same system. And whenever you given your username and password, when you given a password, who is going to authenticate? That system only authenticate your system, your password. Okay. So your account in your system, your in your personal computer, that is a local account. And these local accounts can be administrator account, or a standard account or a standard user account. The accounts are can be standard account, administrator account, standard account. Of course, we don't use one account that is called a guest account. Guest is guest. It's not account. Guest is guest. It's not an account. Just a login account. That's it. So we guest is guest. Okay. We don't use that one generally. Okay. Administrator account, standard user account. So you are when you install a OS and you created a login account, it's just administrator account. Because initially by default, your account is an administrator account. For example, you want to make others to use your system. What you will do? You're using your laptop. So you have all rights to use your laptop. It means you can install application, uninstall applications. You can modify settings. You can access disk management, service management. You can manage those things. You can create your own policies kind of stuff. Any folder you can able to access, any data you can able to access, right? Any permissions you can able to change because your account is administrator account. Then what is standard account? For example, in your home, someone want to use your laptop. Maybe your brother or a sister want to use your laptop. So you don't want to give your account because you're an administrator account. You don't want to give your account. So what you have done, you created separate account, another account. So that other account by default, it is become standard user account. You can convert into standard account, user account to the administrator to standard user account also. But so you created a other account that is a by default standard user account. Okay. So you told that this is your account name and this is the password. So other person log in with us, other standard user account, right? So when he log in, he got a separate desktop environment. So he cannot see what is the data on your desktop, on your account desktop. He can't see. He has a separate desktop environment, separate my documents, separate pictures, separate download folders. The same C drive. Okay, under C, users, under username is username, so his data is stored. Your data stores in under C, users, under user, your username, your data is stored, your user personal data. And standard user accounts, mainly cannot have all permissions. So there is a very limited permissions only. Administrator account users, all privileges. Okay, no limitation. But standard user account, there is a limitation, not all privileges. So this is administrator account and standard user account. I forget to open my VMware. Okay. So you created an account in your system, and where is the account information stores inside your system? Right? Your account, your username, password, user related settings, application, all this information stores inside your system only. Okay? Yeah. It is inside your system. So that is called a local account. When you log into your system, who is going to authenticate your users and authorize the user is your system only. So that is your account is a local account. And whenever you log in, okay, so whenever your account, the first time you are created an account, that first account by default, it is administrator account. Administrator account users have all permissions, can able to do settings, changing permissions, okay, accessing applications, resources like that. It is there. They can install, uninstall application, they can service settings, they can do disk management also, all privileges. See, I have a test user one in this computer, test user one. So I'm putting a password. So when I put a password, what system will do? It verifies my username and password, authenticate the user. And this user is allowed to access the computer resources based on the his privileges. He able to access it. So by default is administrator, so is all privileges. See now, you test user one is login. I'm going to the settings here. In the settings, go to the accounts. In Windows 11, little different, guys. In Windows 11, settings are little different. But same thing, concept is accounts. In settings, go to the accounts. So your information, see, this system is a virtual machine, is a individual system. Can you see an operating account name and bottom local account? It is a local account. And see, it is administrator. This user is an administrator by default. Okay, other information. If you want to add one more user to access this system, so go to family and others. So see, add someone else to this PC. Okay. Of course, when you are adding a new account, okay, you can add account in different ways. One is this way, another one also way. Okay, this one. So add someone else to this PC. I don't have this person sign in information. I don't create anything, guys. Just I want to show like we can create. Add user without Microsoft account. Now you can specify the user, test user two. For example, I'm not creating, just test user two. If you want to specify the password for this test user two, specify the password. And next, this user account will be created. By default, the user is standard user. This user has a limited permissions or limited privileges, limited permissions. Cannot, as administrator, he can't do everything. Okay, he can do few things, but he can't do everything. That is a, and who is going to authenticate this user? Yeah, tell me. Someone asking any question, doubt? Okay. Okay. In this system only the user is authenticated. Okay. So that is the individual computer and user accounts, administrator account. Okay. Standard user accounts. If your user account is admin account, so you can install application, you can change settings in your computer, means you can able to do anything in your system. All privileges are there. Standard account users or standard user account users cannot install applications and installation, changing of settings, and so there is a limited permissions. Guest user can use your system but cannot change anything. Okay, so just like someone came and they want to check some email or they want to access some site, they can log in as a guest. They can do a simple accessing a web browser or very simple kinds, but they can't read the data, they can't access any other things in your system. Okay, we don't use guest in a Windows generally. Okay, user accounts. User accounts are local account or user accounts. Local account users, local account or local users. User information means user name, password, source in your local computer. User is authenticated, authorized by local computer. What is meant by authentication and authorization? Authentication means verification of identity or credentials, like a verification of username and password. Once you got authenticated, so you are allowed to access or not. Which one is? That is authorization. You're allowed to access or not. Authentication means it is verification of your identity. What is your name? What is your password? What is your key? Like that, a different type of authentication system. Okay. So you are allowed or not allowed. For example, you want to access some data, a shared folder data, or printer you want to access, or some certain service you want to access. You are allowed to access, then you can access it. You are not allowed to access, you can't access. That is called authorization. My system also working differently. People are making noise, not talking. Okay, authentication and authorization. So I showed account and settings here, local and administrator. But I want to show my system, my laptop. Go to settings. It's like in a same in a Windows 11 in a settings. But this time you go to accounts here. This is the place accounts. That is Windows 10. This is Windows 11 accounts. See, it is not showing local. It is not showing local. It's showing my name, but not showing local. It's showing some name. 70/Latif. Shaik. And of course, I become administrator of this one because I got some separate privileges. Generally, you are not an administrator of this system. Okay. So I requested because we are trainers, we need to work on different applications, right? VMware applications, some VirtualBox kind of application, installation of some packages are required. So then we take some admin permissions, then we got a administration rights. Okay. So that's the only thing. But remaining thing is like generally, you know, Ravan system or a Vista system, they don't get the admin rights. Okay, so we are trainers. We request for our IT manager, so we got this administrator rights. Okay, so and it is also not showing a local user. Also, you can go to the control panel. The control panel, go to the user accounts. There, go to the advanced user accounts. User accounts. Go to configure advanced user profile properties. Here also it is showing differently. It's not like local account, admin account. It's not like it is showing. Okay. advanced user. Okay, normally you can't click on anything and accessing. Yes, it is showing names, local, but it is showing some name like this, right? Same thing you try in this system, the separate system. Settings, account. Already we seen, right? This is a local account, administrator. Where is some name slash username, not showing like that. Because it is a second one, control panel. User accounts. See, it is showing local account, administrator, password protector. Showing computer name. This system computer name slash test user one local like this. Not something 70s. Okay. So we're going to see few more things. Okay, we need that one. So this is understand your accounts kind of stuff. Local account. Okay. And what's the difference between a local account, administrator account, standard user account, and your system authenticating your system. Okay. This is a first primary point, a key point for this next one. So guys, already I told now everything is a step by step. One you understand, second you understand, third one. So some few points you understand in starting, then we understand those things in next. Okay. So this is all connected one. Okay. It's not just one single separate one. Work group and domain. So now we'll see the work group kind of structure. We'll see the work group kind of structure. What is this work group and domain kind of structure? We need to last time we see the peer-to-peer, that peer-to-peer kind of stuff is like a work group and domain only. So you have a systems connected in the network, your systems connected in the network. Okay, so connected a systems in the network. And in this one, all are individual computers only. But I connected in one. In your home, you have one system, right? But in my organization, what I have done, I connected a 10 computers, 20 computers, 50 computers in the network. All are individual computers. So meaning is a work group systems. Okay. No centralized control here. Okay. Individual computers means they have their own username and password. For example, we take some names from here. Some names like a Puja. Puja login to APC. So Puja is the one, your Puja account is in the APC, so she can log into the APC. Shreya login to BPC. I need small names, any small name like Shreya, Shruti, almost all same name only. Hmm? Bindu, Rohit. So take Rohit, log into BPC. Okay. Bindu, Bindu Sri, Bindu log into DPC. So I have a systems and those are working. So I created accounts in the A and B and C and D. Their accounts I created. Suppose I log into A and do your work and complete close. So I log into BPC to work. So when Puja log into APC, who is going to authenticate Puja account, APC only authenticate Puja account. Okay. Now, for example, one fine day, system is not working. APC is not working. So what happened? Puja cannot log in. So suddenly CPC is available. So CPC is like Puja want to log into CPC. She cannot log in. Why? Puja account is not in CPC. So what I have to do? I'm an administrator. I'm a overall administrator, system administrator. So what I will do? I create a Puja account in CPC. After a few days, again Rohit is also working and BPC is down. BP is down. Shaik cannot able to log in. So she has to be work. So which system is available? DPC, Bindu is absent. So then I created share account in DPC. Like each PC have to create multiple accounts when there are login. Okay. So normally one system user cannot log into another system. Why? Other system don't know who are you. Other system don't know who are you. Okay, what accounts are there in the same system? How many accounts are there? You create multiple accounts. Those accounts that system will knows. Like in a APC, I created 4 accounts. All 4 accounts information APC knows. But someone from out of 4, someone is trying to log in, it does not know about that username, password. So it cannot authenticate. So you can log into your system, you can do your work, you can complete your work. Once you're done, close, sign out or shut down, right? But when you're trying to log into other system, you can't log in. One system user cannot log into other system. Okay. So this is another point. Okay. Individual computers connected to the network, and this type of network called as work group computers, work group model. Okay. Each individual system has their own user accounts. Each individual users having their own administrator accounts and own user accounts, like a standard user accounts. Okay. Users log into their system and do their work. They do what are the work in the system, they will do it, right? One system user cannot log into other system. So user log into their system, that system only authenticate the user. That system only authenticate the user. Points. Now the challenge is also there. Up to here it is okay now. Why it is very good now like this. Now the challenges are here. More number of devices. For example, I have 4 devices now. I want to do small setting in this system. A firewall setting, I want to do it in all 4 systems. I'm an administrator. So what I have to do? I go to ABC, log in as their local administrator, which is a local administrator account in A. I have to log in and do the settings. Again, go to the B, log in as a BPC's local account, which is a local administrator account. I have to log in, I have to do the settings. Same for a C and D also. 4 systems are okay, no problem. Whatever it is, a 40 systems. Little difficult, 40 systems. Each system you have to go. Yeah, each system you have to log in with its local admin account. Okay, means local username, local administrator username, password you have to give. Once you log in, you have to do settings. Because other users who are using the system, we are making them as other users because they should not do all the things. Okay, admin is very powerful. So they should not change anything. So they have to keep like that on. Okay. So what I have done, I went to the each and every system. 40 system. Now it is 400 systems. How much time it will take? How much burden on the administrator? I have to make a one big a 10, 20 members team, and I have to tell them each team to do this kind of stuff. It is a very big challenge. So by doing certain changes or configuration inside a system, you have to go to each and every system. Okay. Maybe there is a printer. I have to configure a printer for a 10 systems. I have to go to 10 system and configure printer access kind of stuff, like shared printer information. Like that. Okay. Next. As I said, 400 devices. For example, think like this. I have 100 computers, 300 employees. Shift-wise, people are working. Three shifts, people are working, 300 computers. So some computers are down. The users in that computers cannot log in, right? So they have to log into other system. If they want to log into other system means in other systems, their account should be there. So you have to create other accounts in their accounts in other system for login purpose. If it is keep on repeating means almost all every system you should create multiple accounts in it. Okay. Sometimes position changes. You sitting one place and you have to go to the another place to do work. In that workplace, your account is not accessible because your account is in the one system, but you want to access in another system. Your account is not there. Again, we have to add your account there. So there is a kind of challenges. Okay. So we'll see once again what is this a workgroup system. So first we should understand individuals. So individual computers has their own local administrator account and local user accounts like a standard user accounts are there. Administrator having a all privileges. And standard account user will use computer and having limited permissions. So we connect all these computers in a network and in a workplace. So this is a model called a workgroup model. This workgroup model is a decentralized administration, means no centralized control of users and computers and network. No centralized controller. Every system has their own administrator account. Once PC's users cannot log into other PCs. User and password settings stores in their own PCs. Okay, user log into their PCs, that system will authenticate that user. Authentication authorization by individual computers only, not centralized authentication system. We can control or manage individually, not central management, not central control is not there. More number of systems or devices increases, it's difficult to manage. So this is the workgroup model. Guys, understand what is workgroup model? Next is domain model. Guys, domain models we don't use in our home purpose. Domain models need a domain controller, which is a server, which is a or server. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I added more. Okay. Yeah. So we need a server here. So obviously it is for organization purpose. A small group of systems, like 5 systems, 6 systems, 10 systems, we can manage these systems easily. So we don't require this domain model in general. But when our number of system increases and we need a centralized authentication, centralized control, then we have to go to the domain model. In a domain model, so we have a domain controller. We have a domain controller. This domain controller is nothing but a server. When you say what is the domain controller? Domain controller is a server. Domain controller is a server. It's nothing but a server. Okay. In this domain controller, there is a database. This domain controller contains a database. What is this database contains? Your domain users information, computer information, okay, resources information, Okay. So domain information, resources information, computer user. Here, we don't create user accounts in individual computers. Individual computers has their own local accounts, but for our organization, the user accounts will create in the this database only in the domain controller. In domain controller, we have two things. One is the database, another one is service called authentication services. So I create a user accounts in the domain controller. So I don't create users in the individual computers. I created users in the domain controller. And these are computers which is connected in the network. Okay. These computers also individual computers. So we add these computers to the domain. You add these computers to a domain. So you see this is a system, right? This is my system. I showed a local account kind of stuff. What happened to this? Is it restarted or what? Okay. It is. You can use system properties, not information. Try system properties, or you can use about your PC also, because in about your PC you can also find system properties. Okay. You see the system configuration and you see the system edition. The edition must be enterprise or pro edition, not home editions. Home editions does not have these features, some features. Which features? We can't add our system to domain controller. Right now we'll see this point, guys. Either this rename this PC advanced or go to advanced system settings also. In your system, if it is this option is not showing, then go to advanced system settings. So what we need is a system properties. In this one, computer name. And if you see under computer name, the work group, it is showing work group. Work group name is work group. Can you see change? When they click on change, also you can see this is a computer, is a member of work group. So this computer is a member of work group. If I want to add this computer to a domain, then I have to select the domain. I have to specify the domain name. Domain has a domain name, specify the domain name. Click OK. It asks for authentication. I have to give my domain controller administrator related accounts, your name and password. Then click OK, OK. It asks for the restart. Then if this system will join to the domain. Once the system is joined to the domain, this computer name appears in the domain database. Okay. Now this system is a part of, means member of domain. Member of domain. Okay. So that is things. So I'm going to show my system also. Check the about your PC. Go to anything, advanced system settings also no problem. Go to computer name tab. See, it is showing a domain directly. It's not showing work group. Why it is? Because this computer already joined in a domain. My laptop is already in a domain. Organization, guys, that's the difference. In your home, it's a work group. Okay, this is domain. This is a domain computer. My laptop is a domain computer. So domain name is, what is my domain name? Click on change, find out. So what is my computer name? This computer is a member of domain. is a member of a domain and this domain is a member of this domain. Okay, so my computer is member of domain. That virtual machine is a member of that virtual machine is a member of Workgroup. Okay, so you join into the domain. So there are certain systems are joined into domain. So C1 join into domain, C2 also join, C3 join, C4 join, C5 also join into the domain. The lines are like this, guys. Computers join into the domain called domain computers. Computers join into the domain called domain computers. Users in the domain controller is called domain users. So these are the domain users because their account is created in the domain controller. And these computers are joined into the domain. Even the domain has a name. Like every group has a name. Like a domain is also a group of systems and controlled by a centralized authentication system. Right? I have a domain. So domain has a name. So you can put any name. So just for example, I put a contoso.com is my domain name. Now C1, C2, C3, C4, C5 is belongs to Contoso domain. So they're joined into the domain. Okay. In the domain controller, in domain database, the domain joined computers means domain computers information is stored. And we created a users in this domain controllers. It stores in the domain database. For example, you have a printer. For example, you have a printer. You join this printer into the domain. Join this printer into the domain. It is a part of your domain only. Okay. Now, again, we'll go back to the statements. Domain users can log into the any domain computer means user 1 can log into C1. User 2 can log into C2. User 3 log into C3. User 4 log into C4. User 5 log into C5. This is first day they login. Next day they came up. User 1 want to log into the C3. So one user, a domain user can log into any domain computer by default. If you restrict it, that's a different one. By default, any domain user can log into any domain computer. Okay. One day you log into one system, next day you can log into another system. Just you have to log out and log from one system and log into another system. Same time you can log into two systems, but you log out from one system and log in with another system. If that other system using user is logged out, then only we can log in, of course. Only one system, one user, one login. Okay, that's a policy like this. Okay, so domain users can log into any domain computers. Up to this, the question is there, guys. Everybody get ready. I'm asking a question and give me an answer. I'm trying to log in with a user 6 in the C6 computer. Can I log in with user 6 in C6 computer or not? Anyone? Getting bored also. Because I'm seeing people are leaving. Not worry, I will take attendance when end of the session. It's a better option. Okay. Now one is saying, tell some guess answer, guys. If anyone is alive, please guess some answer. Yes or no? Why yes, why no? Anything. Can I log in user 6 in a C6 system or not? Okay. We can't log in, guys. The reason is C6 is not part of domain. See, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5 are part of the domain, but C6 is not part of our domain. It may be part of any other domain, or maybe it is a workgroup PC, but it is not a part of our domain. Even C6 is connected to the same network, but still it is not part of our domain. That's why our domain users cannot log into other than our domain systems. So that's why what is a domain means, what is a domain is, domain is an administrative boundary of users and computers. Domain is an administrative boundary of users and computers. Those who are in the domain users, domain computers, domain resources will connect and communicate each other, authenticate and authorize each other. Important is not connect and communicate. Important one is they will get authenticated, authorized in the domain only. Okay. So other than the domain computers or other than domain users cannot log in, cannot access kind of stuff. Okay. So this is about your domain. And we are also having this one. This is a domain model having, this is a domain model. Domain model having a centralized controller called a domain controller. It is a server. The server contains the domain controller. Domain controller contains database. Okay. In the database, domain users and domain computers, domain resources, domain groups, information is there. Identity and information. Computers join into the domain is called domain computers. The users in the domain called the domain users. The domain users can log into any of sorry any of the domain computer by default. Okay, by default. Next, yeah, domain user log into a domain computer, but this user information not in the domain computer, right? This user in one information not in the C1. So what happened? C1 send a request to the domain controller. C1 send a request to domain controller. So verify the user one and its password. So this domain controller authenticate and authorize the user. First, it will authenticate the user. Is username, password is correct or not? Yes, username is correct, password is correct. Next one is this user one allowed to access C1 or not? Yes, is allowed to access C1. Then is authorized the user. So then user one can log into C1. So domain users log into domain computers, but domain controller authenticate, authorize the user. Okay. So who is going to authenticate here? Domain controller. In a work group, individual systems that user accounts, the local accounts only authenticated by individual system. In domain controller, in domain environment, domain controller authenticate the users. So domain controller, two important things. One is database of your users, groups, computers, and resources. Next one is authentication and authorization, two important things. Okay. One more point, guys, in this domain controller, as we discussed earlier, group policies, group policy settings. So as I said earlier, for example, I want to do a certain settings in a computers. There is 100 computers, 200 computers, 500 computers. But I have to do some setting, a firewall setting or application related setting, or maybe printer related setting. You have to do a setting in the all the systems. But how to do it? In a work group, you have to go to each and every system to do a settings. First, you have to log in as a local administrator and you have to do a settings. But here it is. The domain has a domain administrator. Domain has a domain administrator. Domain administrator is a administrator of all the systems in the domain. Domain administrator is a administrator of all the system in domain. So you don't require to log in with a separate administrator account. So just you have to log in with the domain administrator to individual systems to control it. Simple. Second one is, of course, to do a setting in multiple systems or more number of systems, you have to go individually. Not required, guys. Here you can create a group policy setting. You have to specify the setting in a group policy. You have to specify what setting you want to do. So you have to specify in a group policy. Apply these group policies. Then these settings will be applied to the every computer in the domain. Or you can control which users, which groups, which users, which groups, which computers will affect with these policies. Okay. You create a policy and you apply the policy to a group of users, computers, domain like this. So this policy settings will apply to the multiple users and computers. The policies will settings will apply to the multiple users and computers. Okay, so that is what it is, a group policy. Okay, so we'll see the statement. Domain is a centralized administration. Domain controller. Domain has a centralized administration. Okay. There is a centralized administrator called a domain controller, which is a server. Domain administrator is a admin for all the systems in the domain. We can enforce various types of settings to the large number of computers and large number of users and computers in the domain using group policies. We can enforce various types of settings to large number of users and computers using group policy settings. Users, groups, computers, resources, services, information stored in the centralized system. In the centralized system means centralized controller, which is domain controller. In the domain controller, it will store where it stores in their database. Domain user can log into any domain computer by default. Domain, the users in the domain controller called domain users. The computers joined into the domain is called domain computer. My laptop is a domain computer. Okay, so that's virtual machine I showed. That is not a domain computer. It's a workgroup PC. Mine is domain PC, domain computer. So in my laptop, not only me, so your Ravan sir or Vista madam, any person can log into my PC because I can log into any system which is in my domain, any domain computer I can log in based on the by default permissions. If no permission, you can't log in. Okay. So in my laptop also, not only me, so other persons also can log into this. Okay. So these are the domain and work group. You can also see the differences, guys. Work group and domain. Centralized administration. Sorry, work group is decentralized administration. Domain is centralized administration. Work group, no centralized control. Domain is a centralized control called domain controller, which is a server. In work group, every PC has their own local administrator account and local user accounts also. In a domain, so domain users are created and located in the domain admins in a domain database only, domain controller database only. Okay, so here it is. One PC user cannot log into any other system, but domain users can log into any domain computers. Okay, user and password settings stores in their own local system in workgroup, but in a domain, username, passwords are stored in the domain controller database only. In a workgroup, every PC has their own local administrator account, but in a domain, there is a domain administrator. Domain administrator account is a administrator for all the systems. We can control or manage individually, not locally in the workgroup, but in a domain, we can centralized administration is there. More number of devices increases, it's difficult to manage the settings kind of stuff, right? But in a domain, so simply using group policy settings, we can deploy different types of settings to large number of users and computers. These are the difference between workgroup and domain. And this with an explanation also there, guys, please read once. What are the settings and all? In workgroup also, I've written in domain, I written this. User information. Okay, username, password stored in domain controller. Domain computer joining the domain called domain computers. Users in the domain called domain users. Domain user can log into any domain computers. Okay, domain user log into the domain computer. Domain controller authenticate the user. Authenticate and authorize the user. Okay. What is a domain? What is a domain? A logical administrative boundary of users and computers. See, it's a logical administrative boundary. Those users, computers, resources belongs to a domain. It can be controlled, authenticated, authorized, accessed within the domain only. So domain users cannot log into the outside of the domain computers. Okay. Outside of users, okay, means other than domain users cannot log in, cannot access, cannot log in, cannot access any domain-based resources. Any domain-based resources they can't access. Okay, that's the point.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
so if there is any, if suppose the domain controller goes down, then how does the network stay in functionality? So,
Very good question. I don't know, but you asked very good question. Okay, so domain control is very crucial because if domain control is down, what happens? Users cannot get authenticated. That's a very important one. Okay, users cannot, you can't log in. If my domain control is down, I can't log in. Okay, so there is a two important things are there. One is initially you are authenticated. So whenever you connected first time and you got authenticated, and there is a ticket granting ticket is there, TGT. It means the domain controller gives a ticket. So yes, your username, password is correct. You are authenticated. So this is a ticket for your authentication proof. Okay. So like gate pass. Understand gate pass. Okay. It's a gate pass for some days. One time gate pass, few days gate pass. So that is a TGT. So what is domain controller give? A TGT, ticket granting ticket is a kind of information inside the system. In one system. So where you are logging in that system. In that system only the ticket granting ticket is there. Okay. So it's like a gate pass for some days. So generally it will give for 10 days. Okay. 10 days gate pass is given to TGT. So now suddenly domain control is down. So already you have a pass, you can log in. But when you try to log in different system, no, because your TGT is inside your system. So that's why you can't log in with a different system. Okay, this is one point. It's sensitive point, but we'll go to the very easiest one, guys. That's why compulsory you have to put a additional domain controllers, backup or a additional domain controllers, also called as PDC, primary domain controller, or primary domain. This is a main domain controller. And second one is backup domain controller. Primary domain controller. For primary domain controller, there is a backup domain controller. Okay. Next, either a domain controller, Second one is additional domain or PDC, BDC, primary and or backup. If this main domain controller is down, additional domain controller is there for authenticating and authorizing the users. If both are down, we'll put another one, but not after failure. You should guess first, like a one server is not preferable. You have to put at least two. If one is down, another will be provide a authentication and authorization service. Both contain same data, same information. Okay, so that's the why it is very important. That is called failover. Failover means you can't trust any server in a real time. We see in the different data centers, DR sites. Why? One server is down, one web server is down, website is gone. So we have to make it 2, 3 web servers. One is down, no problem, other will provide it. And I'm additionally, guys, not only one system down, other will provide it. More number of users increases. 9:30, everybody came. 9:30, 9:29 to 9:30, everybody start logging. So many requests for one single server cannot able to handle. So what they will do it? They put a multiple servers in a load balancing mode. So balance the load. Okay. So it will share the load between other servers. So then load on the each individual server will be reduced. This concept called load balancing. Okay. Very good question. Understand, guys?
Yes, sir.
Very. So PDC, BDC concept. Primary domain controller, backup domain controller, or domain controller, additional domain controller. Server versions are changes. What wording is also changed. Okay. Okay. Yeah. What I have to show you. What is domain? What is workgroup? What is domain? What is workgroup model? What is domain model? Difference between workgroup model and domain model. Where we use the domain model and what is the domain? Okay. So that is how to verify are you in the domain or not. Next one is which computers you can able to join the domain. So Microsoft service, guys. Which computers you can join the computer? Your edition is Pro or Enterprise. My laptop is Pro edition. Okay, I can join into the domain. If your laptop is or your desktop or laptop is Home edition, Windows 10 Home, Windows 11 Home, you can't join into the domain. Okay, so Pro and Enterprise mainly for organizational use, mainly for joining into the domain and other security purpose. I think somewhere I've written this. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Next one is Active Directory. I thought I will going to complete this Active Directory. Okay, no problem. We'll see what is Active Directory tomorrow. So when you got a time today, guys, whenever you got a time after your preparations and your classes, I think afternoon we don't have a class, you have a test or something, whatever it is. If you got a time, so please read what we discussed today, so it will understand more. Then tomorrow definitely we'll see this Active Directory, DHCP, DNS. We'll complete all these three things. Active Directory will take time, okay, half an hour time. Okay, that's it for today. But what I'm going to do is I'll check